Hello, YouTube. I am sorry that I have to upload this video, but as I predicted with these two books, I did trigger people. And I want to be clear, the reason why I am uploading this video is because yesterday I had a very intense exchange with a professional comic restorer who I feel is one of the best out there. His work is awesome. I'm not going to mention his name or his business's name, but if you do want to take a look at the exchange and who this individual is, please go to my Instagram page and look at the comments and the exchange in relation to these two books. Also, I had an off chat exchange with him, lasted several hours, and it resorted to name calling. Not on my end, though. So let's address the issues. The first issue that this individual raised was that my channel is basically spreading false information and is acting irresponsible. This individual said that my use of calcium hydroxide is being done in a dangerous fashion because I did not use gloves or I allegedly did not use a mask. For the record, I want to state that if you are going to use calcium hydroxide, use a mask. Also, what I would use is gloves. Don't worry about how I do it, but in the future, if anyone is going to attempt deacidification, I would say use a mask and use a glove or gloves. With that stated, the next point of contention was that I misrepresented these books. I tried to engage with this individual how I misrepresented these books. All that I did was work on them and submit them to a grading company, and I received grades. I also informed this individual that these are my private books. Whatever I do with these books, they're mine, and I would never try to pass these books off to a third party, either via trade or sell, and not disclose that I performed a liquid bath for both of these covers. This individual couldn't engage and he didn't like what I was saying, still hearkening back to that I misrepresented. His arguments weren't that good. The third point of contention is in relation to calcium hydroxide. First, he said that I wasn't performing a deacidification bath. Then he provided literature to me where it says that calcium hydroxide is used for deacidification. So it was a little mixed signals that he was trying to argue. Then what he did was he quoted Wikipedia. Now, I am a litigator. I don't know if any of you know that, for 20 plus years. And once someone cites to Wikipedia as the basis of their argument, it's a little suspect and sophomoric, I have to say. So the issue is that this individual was maintaining that calcium hydroxide is bleach. I argued a different position, that it wasn't bleach. I did extensive research about it, that it is not bleach. Bleach is a completely separate component. It's not the chemical makeup of calcium hydroxide. It's my position that calcium hydroxide lightens the cover because it basically adds an alkaline and it brings down the pH and it turns the acid in the papers into a salt. And then it releases it with the methylcellulose strengthening the paper, and the byproduct is salt, and that is how it lightens the paper. So that's just my opinion. That's my position. But then it got really bad. It turned nasty because the professional did not like what Jerry the Jitterbug was saying because he gets paid to work on books. He is one of the top guys. So then he resorted to name calling, calling me uninformed, uneducated. I should do more research. I am misrepresenting to the comic community things. Really negative stuff. It's actually pretty sad and pathetic that a professional in the business that gets paid for doing this is coming around to a little YouTube channel like mine and trying to poke a fight with me. I'm just doing this for fun. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to do an experiment. The experiment is we are going to put paper in my solution of calcium hydroxide, and we're going to put paper in a liquid form of bleach, straight Clorox bleach, which is diluted with water. We're going to let it soak for a half an hour, both pieces of paper, and then we're going to see what the impact is of the calcium hydroxide on the paper and the bleach. And we're going to see if the calcium hydroxide, as this individual says, bleached the paper that was soaked. So stay tuned. Okay, guys. So on the left, I have my mixture of calcium hydroxide. I did wear a mask and gloves. And remember, please do if you are going to mix this at home. On the right is a bleach mixture, bleach and water. And I would say it's probably 20% bleach and 80% water. This is acid-free cardstock that I use for my leaf casting. So what we're going to do is we are going to submerge two pieces, which are the same. It's the same piece cut in half. I'm going to put one piece in the bleach, and then we're going to put one piece in the calcium hydroxide mixture. And then what we're going to do is we are going to let this sit for an hour. And then we're going to see the impact of the calcium hydroxide on this paper and the impact of the bleach on this paper. Now, if what the individual who I debated last night said is true, the calcium hydroxide should bleach and lighten the cardstock like the actual regular bleach water combination. So stay tuned and we'll see how it turns out. Thank you, YouTube. Okay, guys, the two samples have been soaking for about 20 minutes. That's the time that I would soak the covers in the calcium hydroxide. So let's remove them off of the table. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a Costco wee-wee pad, and then we'll put them back. So what I want to do in order to get a proper sample is I want to remove the paper, and then I'll just rinse it down with some water to try to remove, on this side, the bleach, and then on the other side we're going to remove the calcium hydroxide. Now, it's my position that the calcium hydroxide does not bleach the paper. So a real way, it may have lightened it, who knows, but that's just my position. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put the samples down, and then we're going to let them dry under pressure so we can get the answer to this query. Because I do not like being called a fool. I do not like being called ignorant, because believe me, I am not. I went to college after high school for 4 years. Then, after college, I went to graduate school for 3 years. So I'm pretty good with education. I do know how to research. In fact, researching is one of my main focuses in my work. So to be alleged that I have to do more research because the individual who I'm not going to mention said that calcium hydroxide is bleach, I don't like that. So we're going to do a simple experiment, and then when it dries, we'll see how it turned out. So stay tuned. Okay, guys, I am done with my experiment. On the left is the calcium hydroxide. Below the blue is the change, if any, in the color of the sample paper. On the right is the change with the soaking in diluted bleach. So clearly, this is bleaching the paper. The tan turned white. The bleach removed a lot of the color, if all, from the sample paper. In relation to the calcium hydroxide, it did manipulate the color. We all have to see that, but the issue of whether the manipulation can be construed as being a bleaching agent like this, it's up for debate, in my opinion. And that's all that I was trying to express to the individual who I had it out with verbally via text messages last night. So here you go. The proof is in the pudding. Is this bleached? It is manipulated. It is a different color, slightly, but I wouldn't categorize it as bleaching the actual paper as bleach did. And that's all I was trying to explain. It's a different opinion. But unfortunately, sometimes people do not like different opinions, and they get nasty because they're unable to debate on the science and the facts and the opinions. So thank you for watching, YouTube. I appreciate it. And I want to thank all my followers. And remember, if you are going to use calcium hydroxide, make sure you use a mask and make sure you use a set of rubber gloves. Do not follow what I do personally. Make your own decisions based on the recommendation that I just gave. Thank you, YouTube, and stay tuned for future content.